Yes.
It's
Yes.
all good. It's all good.
Are
Well,
you?
cool, man.
I'm ready when
Uh,
you are.
okay. Let's see. We're still doing the. I. All right. Here we go.
All right, let's do it.
Rockford's home for Classic Rock 96.7 The Eagle. Good morning. It's Double T, and it's time for Bar Comedy USA News with the one and only Dog. Dog, what's happening
What
today?
is happening, Double T? I'm excited to talk to you today. We've got a lot of fun stuff happening in bar comedy news. This one, you're going to have to jump into your time machine, Double T. Do you have a time
Okay.
machine?
Let me see if we figure it out. Yep, I got it all set. I just got to get to 80 miles an hour? I can't remember the exact speed.
88.8 miles an hour. Get your flex capacitor installed in the DeLorean, and let's go back, I don't know, 6, 8 years. Honestly, does it really matter? We're also going to transport to Chatfield, Minnesota, where this story takes place.
All right, let's head to Chatfield, Minnesota. A few years back, what happened there?
Wow. So you remember Daryl Moon, don't you? Daryl Moon, he's been on your show. He's performed at Screw City Tavern over there in Rockford as part of the Pub and Grub Comedy Tour.
Of course I remember Daryl. Very, very funny guy.
Very funny guy. So funny, he was once voted 1999's funniest person in Iowa, which is a lot like being voted mayor of South Beloit. And we worked together. We worked together for many, many years. We did a show in a small town in Minnesota, Chatfield, Minnesota. It's at a golf and country club, and we used to do a comedy game show together. We'd do about a half hour each of stand-up comedy. Then we'd get together on stage at the same time, and we would host our version of the Newlywed Game.
Nice. That sounds like it would have been a good time.
It was a lot of fun. People loved it. You know, they get up there and in front of the entire town and all their friends, spouses would basically throw each other under the bus.
I'm sure you've had some interesting situations occur with that.
100%. This is one of those interesting situations. Is at a golf club. Daryl actually posted about this on his Facebook page this weekend. This is a few years ago. They had an all-day tournament at this country club. And before we did our show that night, everyone at the show was obliterated drunk.
I'm shocked. Golf tournament?
Yeah, right. A comedy show? Imagine that. That's weird. And that's why I like doing the shows in the bars and clubs. We talked a few weeks ago about the girl got the beer thrown at her. That's one of the things that I loved about doing these shows is they're just so unpredictable. Once you get alcohol involved, I think that actually is when the real comedy starts.
See how strong you are, right?
That's right, man. And it's always I've heard this stuff before, I want to see the unpredictable stuff that, alcohol is a great ingredient to produce. So we had when we do these game shows, we bring up the people on stage. It's very much audience participation. We had 3 couples. All right. We already had our contestants ready to go. We had another couple that absolutely begged to be on the show, claiming they would be the champions by far, that they were going to crush the competition. They were wasted. Against our better judgment, we went ahead and added them to the show. And they were a complete train wreck, of course.
Of course. When they beg to be a part of it, yeah, that's not going to work out.
That's not going to work out. It doesn't work out when it's a regular comedy night and someone says, hey, if you need someone to pick on, you can pick on me. And inevitably, every time you do that, that's the guy that wants to chase you out of the bar with a pool cue. It's almost like a taunt. It's not an offer for audience volunteer. what it is a taunt to challenge to get you to insult them, so that way they have an excuse to beat you with the cue stick. That's what it always is. This particular couple, however, they thought they were going to be the winners, and they were a complete train wreck, of course. So much of a train wreck, they broke up halfway through the show.
Well, hopefully they're just dating and not married.
I think that is what the case was. I think they were actually engaged at the time.
Ooh.
At the time. Now, when we went on to do that show, dozens of times after that, we would tell that story on stage as the reason why we would not pick couples that were super drunk and or seemingly explosive. Now, let's go back into time. Let's jump back into the time machine and go back to the future and transport ourselves to Galena, Illinois.
Oh, Galena, been there. It's a nice little place to visit.
It is a nice little place to visit. It's in your neck of the woods. And this event takes place just last weekend, Saturday night.
Oh, it was recent. Okay.
This is recent.
All right,
my good friend Daryl Moon bringing his Screwlywed game show to the town of Galena. It's something that he does actually on the regular. So I want to get a shout out to Daryl and all the folks over in Galena that might have checked that out. He brings that show there quite often. I don't know when the next time is, but this last weekend he was performing the Screwlywed game in Galena. There was a woman at that show who was also at that show 6 years ago in Minnesota.
Wow, and that's crazy.
And after Daryl told the story, she told him that couple is now married with a kid.
Of course they are.
And you know what? I bet I could get a few parenting tips from them.
Relationship tips too, probably.
Relationship tips. If you're the type of couple that can compete in a comedy game show, break up, get back together, you know that was meant to be.
Such a lovely couple. You know what? I'm so glad to hear that. And it's good, they're spending the weekend in Galena because that's a good place for them.
Oh, absolutely. And, well, I don't know that they're spending the weekend in Galena. The woman who was at the show in Galena mentioned to Daryl about the couple.
Oh.
She remembered it. It was like a town legend in Chatfield, Minnesota.
Is there a sign somewhere for it?
There should be. It should be one of those things like the small town tourist trap, instead of the world's largest ball of yarn or the world's largest Easter egg or the world's largest fry pan, be known as the place where this is the famous couple that once split up during the one and only comedy game show we ever had here.
I love it.
And in further news, you know how I go by the nickname Dog.
I do, yes.
And Double T, do you know why that is?
Because it sounded cool to shorten your name, Jeremy. Honestly, I don't know why you call yourself Dog.
Well, you're definitely on the right track. It definitely sounds cool. It's a nickname I had in college. It does shorten my name from Jeremy. And when I first started doing stand-up comedy when I was in college, I would be introduced as anything other than Jeremy Danley. Hosts and MCs could never remember my name. They could never get it right. I can't tell you how many times I was introduced as Jerry Danielson or Jiminy Delaney. Well, Double T, I thought by going by Dog would just cut through all of that, and people it would be easy to remember. It would be easy to say. And here it is, 25 years later. I'm scheduled to headline the Laugh Out Lounge in Winter Haven, Florida, and right there on their Facebook event, it says Jeremy Dog Daniel.
Now they're just guessing. They're not even trying anymore. They're like, his last name starts with a D. We'll just that sounds common enough.
Absolutely. You could have just stuck with Dog.
Right. Just say Dog.
I thought I was being very clever 25 years ago when I came up with that hook. And now, in retrospect, Double T, I look back and regret my decision. Instead of using Dog as my stage name, that would be easy to remember. I feel like now, at this point, I should have just gone with the stage name of Jeremy Seinfeld.
Let's Bar Comedy USA News with Dog. I got it right. Are you impressed?
That's right. With Jeremy Dog Daniel. That's what's happening in bar comedy across the country.
Where can people find out more about what Dog has going on and what's going on with Bar Comedy USA News?
You can go to barcomedyusa.com. You can check out this episode plus past episodes there. We're also going to be holding a contest, which I'm excited to bring you some more information about next week. And you can go to @JaredDogLive, @JaredDogLive.com, @JaredDogLive on all the social medias, and be ready for more exciting comedy, pub and grub comedy tour coming to the Rockford area soon. We've got our launch actually happening for this season over in Clinton, Wisconsin at Boxcars. Double T, you know Boxcars. That's a great place for comedy.
Pogo and the crew over there are awesome.
Absolutely. It's a diamond in the rough. It's probably one of the best one-nighters in the middle of the week in the entire country. They always pack it out. I think they still have a few more season tickets left. But if you want, that's definitely a good place to check out the Pub and Grub Comedy Tours, Boxcars in Clinton.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, thank you, Double T. I can't wait to talk to you again soon.
It's Dog, Bar Comedy USA News on Rockford's home for Classic Rock, 96.7 The Eagle.
All right, thanks, man.
Sure. Now, are you going to be doing like these flashbacks each week?
It's something like that, whatever. It might be a flashback. It might be just whatever was relevant. The reason that was relevant is because the story actually happened this last weekend.
Cool.
But then you have to tell the first story to get to the second story. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Because I'll find a sound effect for that, too.
Oh, yeah, like a time machine sound effect.
Yeah.
I love it.
Since this is the news now, I mean, we got to make it professional.
Yeah. Then, just like the news, we'll have all kinds of different segments. We might have like a comedy sports segment. That would be fun.
Ooh, I like it.
Talk about the Savannah Bananas.
By the way, coming to Milwaukee next year.
Yeah, and Vegas. I can't wait.
Nice. Very, very cool. Well, cool, man. I actually got a email from Dobie last week. It was the first time I had heard from him.